Thank you. Well, greetings to our meeting on March 8th, 2022. I'm going to call off people's names to do attendance so our scribe will know who's here. Alexis. Beth.
Here.
Carol. Claire. Clay.
Hi, everybody.
Jamie. John. Linda.
Here.
Marc.
I'm here.
All right. Martha. Here. Paul. Ramona. Ramona, you need to come off mute.
I'm sorry, here.
Thank you. Sophie. Sunita.
Here.
And Susan. I know Susan's here. Here. And it looks like Carol is here.
I'm
And-
here, sorry.
No worries. Alexis?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everyone.
Wonderful. I just want to make sure I got everybody. Okay, wonderful. So welcome to our meeting. I'd like to have a motion to approve our February minutes.
I so move.
I so move. And any changes that need to happen? Okay, and a vote to okay them? Okay, wonderful. February minutes have been approved. So visitors, it looks like we don't have any visitors today. Perfect, we're good. So Carl Mead, he's not here.
He's just got here.
He just got here. Greetings, Carl.
He's still connecting to audio.
He's still connecting. There he is. Greetings, Carl. Welcome to BCOI. Hi, Jamie. Okay, Jamie's here. So Sunita is going to
Yes.
introduce our speaker for this meeting.
Yes,
Thank you.
Dr. Mead. He was my son's principal actually, but right now he is a deputy superintendent of operations and support services in Beaverton School District. And today he will be talking about our upcoming proposal for a capital improvements bond. And I'm going to let him talk. So the floor is yours, Carl.
Great. Thank you. My apologies for being a couple of minutes late. My other meeting was running over and I had to go running out of that meeting. I know everybody in this room understands that. You've all been there at some point in time.
So
All right.
Carl, I
Yes.
just want to let you know you have about 15 minutes to talk and questions.
Awesome. I love
Okay,
it. So I'm
great.
going to go ahead and get started. Do I have screen privileges?
No, let me give that to you.
Thank you.
Okay, now you do.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. There we go. All right. So do you have a moving video in front of you?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. As long as I've been on Zoom, I still don't have this down 100% yet. So this is the district's website that highlights the bond, proposed bond that will be on the ballot in May of 2022. There's multiple aspects of information on this website that I'll get into in just a moment. But before I do that, I do want to share this video with everyone.
In May 2022, voters will decide on a new proposed 30-year bond that, if passed, would raise about $723 million. The proposed bond is estimated to initially cost taxpayers approximately $2.34 per $1,000 of assessed value and decline over time. That's an increase of approximately 25 cents per $1,000 of assessed value over the current tax rate. For a homeowner with an average assessed property value of $303,000, that's an increase of about $76 per year. If the bond passes, how would the district prioritize projects? Well, it started in 2019 when the district hired an outside consultant to do a comprehensive facility condition assessment of all BSD properties. The consultant scored schools and district buildings on seismic readiness, age, condition, and the amount of deferred maintenance. Then last February, the district asked you to fill out a survey that further prioritized the needs. That all resulted in a list of proposed projects that fall into 6 main categories. First, modernization at 44 of our 53 schools. Things like office relocations to increase security, classroom improvements, new playgrounds, and synthetic turf fields at some high schools. It also includes 2 school rebuilds, Beaverton High School, which was constructed in 1916, and Raleigh Hills, constructed in 1927. Second, seismic improvements. Take a look at this graph. 13 of our 53 schools currently meet or nearly meet the district's goal for damage control, leaving 40 of our schools that don't meet the district standard for earthquake readiness. If passed, the proposed bond would fund phase 1 of that work, starting with our older middle schools, Cedar Park, Five Oaks, Highland Park, Meadow Park, Mountain View, and Whitford. Other schools would be addressed in future proposed bonds. Third, technology. During the early days of the pandemic, our students used their school-issued devices for remote learning. The replacement cost for these devices is around $27.4 million and would include 2 rounds of Chromebooks for high school and 1 round of Chromebooks and iPads for middle and elementary schools. If the proposed bond does not pass, the district would not fund new one-to-one devices for student use unless general funds were allocated, potentially impacting funding for staffing and other programs. The proposed bond also would cover more than $16 million worth of network and infrastructure upgrades, as well as extra devices and parts. Fourth, if passed, the proposed bond would fund $120 million worth of deferred maintenance at most schools, projects like roof replacements and HVAC upgrades. Fifth, classroom additions at Oak Hills, Sato, and Stoller. And the 6th category, security and other equipment, including security cameras at all schools, card readers at high schools, and new buses. If the proposed bond passes, the district would receive an additional $8 million in state grant money through the Oregon School Capital Improvement Matching Program. If the proposed bond doesn't pass, BSD would not receive the grant. For more information about the district's long-range facility plan and seismic study, please visit our bond website. There, you also can see exactly what projects are proposed for individual schools. If the proposed bond does not pass, projects would not go forward and the new tax rate would not be implemented. Still have questions? Feel free to submit them on that same webpage by hovering over the question mark.
All right, now I want to take you to that website. That video is located here. It is also in Spanish on our website. As I scroll down, these are the 6 areas that were spoken of in the video. You can click on these. These are live links, and it will go into more detail of what modernization is, seismic upgrade, and the sort for each one of these areas of our projects. Moving forward, for your area schools that you may live in, we've got each elementary school, middle school, high school, and option school. I'll click on elementary just for a moment so you can see what that looks like. Each school is listed individually. Each one has a live link, and you can actually get in to see what are the projects that are slated for that school in the proposed bond. As you continue down in this website, it gave reference to taxes and what that would actually look like. There is a calculator on this website, so our community can actually figure out what that cost will be to their own personal property. These 4 icons here are frequently asked questions that are submitted to us as a school district, and they're ongoing. We ask that you submit questions to us ongoing in an ongoing manner, or anyone else out in the community that has wonderings about this. We will try to answer those questions within 48 hours and post them if it's appropriate for community response. The next is research and reports. I highly, highly recommend that you spend some time in here. This is a basis of the bond, what we've put forward. We started this work back in 2016. That was a future study. Then it went into a seismic report. We were one of the very few districts, if the only district in the state, that has had their buildings assessed for seismic need. You'll also get in there to our McKinstry report. That was a third party that came in to evaluate each of our facilities, and everything was evaluated from anything that is a permanent fixture of the building, from ceiling tiles to HVAC units to carpet, and in essence, the lifespan of those elements of each building, so that we can actually do some forecasting out. This is here for you to ask any questions that you may have. And then this is voter registration information. Future upcoming events featuring bond informational sessions. And we've got a couple of informational videos at the bottom. Seismic upgrades. This one I found very interesting. One of our project managers from our facilities team put together a seismic video using his children's Legos. And it was very instructional for us to see actually what we do to retrofit a building, because we've got buildings that are 50, 60 years old that we will continue to retrofit and make them seismically safe. And it gives just a quick glimpse of what that looks like. Technology and how the district is moving forward with our proposed bond here. And then Beaverton High School rebuild, as well as Raleigh Hills Elementary rebuild. And then once again, you've got those same videos that I showed you just a moment ago. I'll be able to take your questions in just a moment, but I'm going to pass the baton to Sunita at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Mead. I just want to say that as a school board member, I'm going to vote yes. I don't have kids in the district, but the reason why I'm voting yes is because what's our option? If the bond doesn't pass, the money is going to come from general fund, which pays for payroll, curriculum, materials, and other important things. And if you believe that you want to believe in this bond, vote yes. Please tell your friends to vote yes. But if you don't want to vote, if you're not sure about it, please ask questions today or even later. You can get hold of me or Mr. Mead, or I will get you in touch of anyone if you have any more questions on this. Also, if you are for this and you want to help us with the campaigning, there is a separate website. I'll put it on the chat, and you can help us by giving your time, money, because it takes money to campaign. And so if you have any questions at this time, this is a very good time. Mr. Mead is here. You know, he can answer your questions too. Thank you.
And if you don't have questions today, that's perfectly fine. But we know that questions will come up over the next several months. Please submit those questions and we will send information back to you. We want our community to be very informed of what this bond is for, be as transparent as we possibly can. Nothing to hide behind this. We have aging facilities. And when you have 62 facilities as a district, that's part of our infrastructure in Beaverton, in the city of Beaverton, but also we expand beyond the city into unincorporated Washington County, as well as Washington County of the North. So
Ramona has a question.
Please.
I noticed that in the video, the mention was made of Mountain View Middle School for, I believe it was seismic upgrades. And how old is Mountain View?
Mountain View was built in the 1960s. So we like to keep our schools for a minimum of 75 years. And so we have to replace the roof at Mountain View in this next bond. And in doing so, it saves us significant money at that point in time to retrofit it seismically if we do that project all at once. Otherwise, if you just do seismic, you're having to remove portions of the roof anyway. So while we're removing the roof, we were able to go in and do the necessary construction to secure those walls. So Mountain View is one of those projects, one of the 6 middle schools for seismic improvement.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, Linda.
I was wondering, I live on Murray Hill, and I was wondering if you had ever used the neighborhood chat, what is it called, next door?
Yes.
Had you used that to sort of advertise this? I mean, we're all neighbors, all homeowners. It seems like it would make a big impact there. It
does, absolutely. I'm very familiar with Nextdoor, Facebook, Twitter. if it's a social media, I also have 3 children between 20 and 30. So it's in our household all the time. So yes, but you're absolutely right. We're also reaching out to our NACs, so our neighborhood associations, any committees such as this. We're presenting at each and every one of our 54 schools in the district. And I know that I love coffee, and I've already actually been invited to coffee about 20 times in the last month. And it's been great because I expect one person to show up and I end up with 5 or 6. And it's great to engage in the conversation. Not only that, but to see people in person once again.
That presentation was really well done, I need to tell you.
Thank you.
Very nice. Very
That
nice.
very much goes to our communications department. They have done an outstanding job of gathering a ton of information together. And you can spend hours, I'm not kidding, you could probably easily spend 25 hours going through the various reports and research that we put together for this bond. All right.
I don't have a question, but I think it's really important to emphasize that if the bond does not pass, that this money will have to come out of the general fund. And of course, that affects curriculum, and it also affects staffing, which are the 2 biggest things that we need to focus on, in addition to having safe buildings, of course. But I think really that needs to be emphasized. The money has to come from somewhere, and we don't want to take it away from our students. That's what the school district is all about.
Absolutely, Carol, you're 100% right there. Nearly 89, almost 90% of our budget in general fund goes to staffing.
Right.
Yes,
And this is on the ballot in May, correct?
it is. It is on the ballot in May. We will be publishing what the ballot title is and be providing that information. We just got assigned a ballot number this last week, so we'll update our website with that information as well.
Okay.
Excellent. Not seeing any other questions at this time. I don't want to delay your meeting, but please, I'm happy to join you again. I know Sunita, I can't speak for Sunita, but I know I've gotten to know her well enough. We'll be happy to show up again. Or if there's a place you want us to meet, we'd be happy to do that. We want to be able to get information out there to our community.
One more question. Where will that website or the address be placed if we want to volunteer for campaigning? Or
I just put it in chat, and I'll also put it in the minutes.
oh, perfect. Thank you. I'll check
Perfect.
chat.
Yes.
I have another question.
Yes.
How recently was the last $750 million bond measure passed?
That was
How
passed.
recent was that?
That was passed in 2014, and it was an 8-year bond.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in your studies, you had mentioned the requests that are being made now were started as far as research on them and so forth years ago. So do I understand then that you have this steady progression of requests, and as one bond and the monies are spent, then another bond comes up right away? And I am curious as to how many bonds taxpayers are now paying for the school bonds. How many are we still paying on?
Excellent question, Ramona. I will get that information and I'll have that posted on the website. I don't know that information off the top of my head. I do know that we continue to restructure our bond debt over time to save our taxpayers money. So we will go through a cycle of refinancing those bonds. I know we did last year, and we saved our taxpayers nearly $11 million in having to
How much?
repay those. $11 million. So we continue to do that and restructure the debt so that we can actually afford our community as low taxes as possible in this situation. But I will get that information to you. But thank you.
I would
Great question.
appreciate it.
Yeah. You asked-
Because you're
please.
adding 25 cents per thousand
Mhm.
to what we're already paying per thousand. And my property taxes have gotten to the point where I almost cannot pay them due to the way property values have jumped. And now with the inflation that we're being hit with, and in fact, I'm testifying tomorrow night on our utility gas bills because they increased by 12% last year, and they're asking for another 12% this year. And it's to the point where I'm having to question, well, do I pay the utility bill this month, or do we do without groceries for meals? That's the point that I, as a retired resident has already reached. And now the school district is asking to increase our property taxes once again. And I am sorry, but I have reached my limit.
Mhm. And Ramona, I certainly appreciate that. You mentioned your utility bill of gas. Ours went up 21% in the district this year alone, and we're expecting another rate hike next year.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I certainly understand. And every situation is going to be unique and different. So, but thank you for expressing that. Okay.
Thank you,
Again, thank you.
Mead, for joining us and answering the questions so clearly and getting back to us on the questions that you don't know about. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's a great question, Ramona. And thank you, Martha. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ramona. Things would, sometimes you just don't think about all the little details. I really appreciate your question. Okay, so we are going to have a meeting today which was very similar to what we did last month with the purpose of planning for our retreat on Saturday. So just so you know, we're going to have a working, creative working meeting today. And we're going to start off with an icebreaker. And the question for you to share today is, what are you grateful for today? And somebody can start, whoever would like, and then you're going to popcorn to somebody. You're going to call out somebody else to share. So whoever would like to start, one thing that you're grateful for today.
I'll start. I just have been watching the news along with everyone else, and I'm very grateful. Even though I just did my taxes and I'm very unhappy about that, I'm still very grateful that I live in the United States and that I have the freedoms that I do. And I'm going to pass this on to Sophie.
Hello. I live in this area as well, so I'm listening to you, Ramona, and all the questions, and it's so fascinating. And I think I could just say, just instantly, I'm just grateful to live in the United States where we have an opportunity to have a say, to vote. One thing about bills is if we don't like how it's written, say no, and they can put a bill through so many, like multiple times until it's written exactly how the people want. So that gives me a lot of joy, and I'm thankful for that. I'm happy to see Carol.
Did you say Carol?
I said Carol.
Okay, thank you. I am extremely grateful today. I had a follow-up CT scan of my lungs. I'm a lung cancer survivor, 7 years, and today that CT scan came back all clear. So I'm extremely grateful and thankful. Okay, how about you, Susan? Oh, you went already, didn't you? How about you, Jamie?
Hi there, everyone. I feel like I always repeat myself with this, but I am grateful for my health as well. I've had a couple of mini health scares recently, and everything's great, and my body's working like it's supposed to. And I think that I've taken it for granted for a long time. And so I'm really happy that it's doing exactly the things it should. And let's see, how about you, Martha? What are you feeling grateful for?
Oh, thank you, Jamie. I am very grateful for my husband Wade today because I've been having my lower back has just been out of function. So I haven't been able to pick things up, and he's just been a doobie. So delightful. I just love him. And I'm going to pick Clay.
Thank you, Martha. I'm glad you have a husband that'll pick things up for you. I own a small business, and particularly these last couple weeks with shortages in workforce and shortages that we hear about at restaurants and any service oriented business, I feel very grateful for the team that I work with, and I feel very grateful. Part of that team is my wife and my daughter, so I get to mix business with family, and so today I'm feeling grateful. I'm feeling grateful for them. Beth, have you gone yet?
I have not. Okay. Well, today I'm grateful for social supports and friends. Just having that consistency and being able to share with friends and have them share with me has been really important, and just recently even more so. So I'm so grateful for that I have social supports. I'm going to call on Ramona.
Thanks, Beth. I'm grateful for numerous things, as I'm sure all of you are. I think specifically coming out of this 2-year period of lockdown, I'm grateful to my family. I've been so glad that I have the support and the interaction on a daily basis of loved ones in the household. And I'm going to pass it to Neil.
Thanks, Ramona. I've just been really grateful for my soccer team. So like this weekend, I'm actually gonna get to go to Vegas for a soccer tournament, and that'll be really fun. And just been really, it's my last year, so I've just been really grateful for my having my teammates and being able to play just and have fun my last year. And I'll go ahead and pass it to Marc.
All right, thank you, Neil. I'm going to express a gratitude on behalf of a whole lot of other people, including myself, that I and my wife will be attending tonight, the very first formal public concert at the Patricia Research Center for the Arts. There were a couple of informal concerts Monday and over the last couple days. But tonight is the very first Research Presents concert. It's going to be a wonderful a cappella vocal group from Africa called Ubuntu. And we've got our tickets paid for already, ready to go in and enjoy this first event. And then on the weekend, the free concert day of Sunday with a number of different performers and a number of different performances is going to end with our local Beaverton Symphony Orchestra playing at 7 p.m. I don't know if there are still tickets available. It's free, everything on Sunday is free. So I think the tickets went pretty fast. But this will be the first time, obviously, in the first week that a full symphony orchestra of something like 50 or 60 musicians will be on the stage. It probably won't be the last time. And I know the Beaverton Symphony is going to be back in May, so put that on your calendar if you don't get out this weekend. I think it's May 15th. The orchestra will be back for another performance. And I think the orchestra will probably play at the Reser once or twice a year, going forward, perhaps more often, I don't know. But it is going to be wonderful to hear what that place sounds like with a full band of musicians doing their best. So looking forward to tonight. Looking forward to Sunday, and I tell you, there have been a ton of people that have worked really hard to make this possible, and for that I am grateful.
So Marc, popcorn to somebody.
Is there anybody who hasn't gone yet? Sunita, it's your turn.
I am great. Thank you, Marc. I'm grateful for the freedom that I have right now with my work schedule and being able to balance my time with family and work and school board and BCOA. I have that, liquidity or the time that I can choose. So I'm grateful for that. And did everybody go? Jamie, did you go?
Linda didn't.
Linda.
And neither did I.
Alexis? Oh, Linda or Alexis?
Oh, sorry, Alexis. I didn't see you down there.
Alexis, you want? Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's all right. This is Linda. As I look at all the things that are happening in the Ukraine, I am so grateful that the only thing that I have to complain about are gas prices at this particular point, and I'm just counting my blessings more than anything else. That's it.
And Alexis, it's your turn, hon.
All right. Sorry, I'm going to turn on my camera just for a second here. I am very thankful today for my fiance, Patrick. He has taken some time off of work to do a full bathroom remodel for us.
Whoa.
So I don't know if you guys can hear like the sawing that's going on in the background right now, but it is very loud at the Steel Cane household. And the crawl space to under the house is in my office right behind me. So just so you guys don't kind of see him like diving around in the background, I've had my camera off. But I'm very thankful that he is working so hard to further develop our home and kind of get us to a point where we don't have to share just the one remaining functional bathroom. It will be very nice to have a little bit of freedom there. So yeah, I'm very thankful to him.
Yeah. Thank you all. Everybody got a turn? Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Lots to be grateful for in our lives. Okay, so we are going to review our ideas for the Older Americans Month in May, and to find out how we want the display in the library to ideas on how we would like it to look. And Beth, do you have a picture of that again so we could see what it looks like?
I didn't bring it with me today, but basically what it is a section at the bottom of the stairs and main library. There's a table, it's not terribly big, and there's room to put a poster. There's room for materials. And also, we had talked last month about putting out like a resource materials. So whether that's flyers or trifolds, a few people have some that they wanted to send over to the library, so we could put those on display as well. So this is the first 2 weeks of May, and officially it is Older Americans Month. So that's what we're doing.
And our theme for this year is going to be, because of all our discussion of last month, is education and awareness. And I've been thinking a lot about that theme for us for this year. And you know, that is for ourselves as individuals on the aging for all ages process, our own, and what we do out in the community. So let's see. Beth, do you have access to a whiteboard that we can take notes on? Can we pull that up so we can put all our ideas down on one place? Thank you. So brainstorming to me is a time that we just throw ideas out. It doesn't matter how outrageous the idea is, but just to get them all down on paper so we can all see them and then figure out what are the best choices for us. So throw out your ideas. And Beth, are you okay taking notes for this, hon? Okay. So what can go on this table for the Older Americans Month?
Suzanne?
Sorry.
I have a question. Is this something, is branded material acceptable? For instance, if we are connected to other organizations, like I'm connected to AARP, is it acceptable to bring branded material, or is this something you want strictly from BCOA?
No, put it down. Anything goes.
Okay, well, we have lots of things that I could,
Okay, so
I could bring some AARP brochures.
Right. Anything goes.
Maybe a printed version of the LC Stir schedule for the month or a few months.
Okay.
For people that don't have an option to online.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of going off of the AARP for our the grocery service PDX concierge, we have a lot of flyers as well that we could pass out for people, just since we're relatively new as well.
Yes.
ECOA flyers, we can get, I have that on my to-do list to get updated flyers for us as well.
And Viva Village has flyers that we could contribute
Oh,
also.
Perfect. Books on aging.
I have a quick comment. Do we still have those notes that we took last meeting? We talked about this. I'm trying to pull up our meeting minutes, but I'm not seeing that. Remember last
I
meeting?
didn't see them in the minutes.
I didn't either.
There's a number 9 in the minutes. Check that out.
Oh. Okay, so sharing crafts. I'm just going to give you some ideas from this.
You know,
Sharing crafts.
Sophie, you keep going in and out. I can hear you and then I can't hear you.
I'll type it in the chat.
Okay. So books, what other kind of materials?
You know, the DAR has a lot of materials for historic reference, everything else, and there's a the Beaver chapter is actually very, very active in this area.
Beth, could the library maybe put together a book list of books on aging that are offered at the library for checkout?
Yeah, I actually have one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, awesome.
But here's what I will say though. There's no input from you all. So I would love to hear some titles that are meaningful for you or that what you think should be on that list. I would like that very much. So I can update the template and get new ones printed with the titles from this committee.
Okay.
So are you looking for ideas?
Yeah, I would love to hear ideas
Okay.
on books. I know you have a lot, Martha.
I do. The last one I just read was How the Penguins Changed Veronica. It is fabulous.
Okay.
It is so good.
We just read Tuesdays with Maury. That everybody enjoyed.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
And This Chair Rocks, which
Yes.
is anti-ageism framework.
Yes. And the book.
What was the Penguins one?
How the Penguins Changed Veronica. And 100 Years of Letty and Margot.
Beth, there's a Disrupt Aging by Joanne Jenkins.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't have that, I can give you my copy.
I think we do, but if not, I will order it. So it's good to know now so we can
Yeah.
get things ordered if the library doesn't have a copy of the title you mentioned.
I think
It's on aging after 50.
Yeah, the library has it.
Also, Irvin Yalom who's a renowned psychotherapist, has I think a couple of books on death and aging. Which may be intense for some people, but I just think they're great reads and love the way he writes.
Can you spell his name?
Yes, IRVINYALOM. And I think one of the books is Staring at the Sun that I recently read.
And another book is Oscar. He's the cat that lives on the floor of the hospital of dementia people who are about to die. Oh, it's a great read. It's a memoir of the doctor who believed this cat always knew who was the next person to die. And he would go and be with them. It's just this incredible little memoir.
And I'm not sure something like this even exists, but what about places in Beaverton that offer a senior discount, whether it be a restaurant or anything, dry cleaners, grocery store. I know New Seasons does on Wednesdays. Something like that.
Yeah. And there's a book out about what to do after retirement. Is a really good read.
And also, someone just gave me this book. It's called, I haven't read it yet. I don't know if you can see. It's called Legacy, a step-by-step guide to writing personal history. It's just, there's lots of interesting questions in here that help you think about starting to document your history and your story. And also, I think it's just nice for a conversational standpoint when you talk to friends and interesting questions asked. So
who's the author, Jamie?
Linda Spence. I haven't read this, so I can't, this is not a full recommendation.
That's okay.
It looks really neat.
Okay. So we have resources and brochures, places in Beaverton that offer senior discount, and then materials, books on aging, and DVDs, and a book list. So do we have any lists for the ideas for the DVDs? I'm assuming we could be movies or, yeah, I guess films.
Yeah, and that may take more to think about. I know there's several documentaries on aging that of course I don't know off the top of my head, but there's some about that. There's the one that just came out about that retirement community in Florida. That was really interesting. What's it called?
Is that The Villages?
Yes, yes.
So Beth, next to DVDs, could we put documentaries?
Yeah. And I'm happy to work on that because that's my collection is actually DVDs. So
okay.
I see some chat. Retirement Connection Resource Guide. Oh, cool.
There's also a Molly Ringwald put out an audio book that it's called When It Happens to You. It's a novel and stories. And it's actually, I haven't read it, haven't heard it, I mean, but I've heard it's quite good.
And thank you. And I'm still looking at the notes. Sophie, you said notes to send to seniors. There's a program done by Washington County that's that very idea, and it's already in place, but we could definitely provide information on that, or consider, does the library want to be a drop-off location for those notes? So I'm going to add that. It's Washington County. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the program, but it's run for disability, aging, and veteran services.
So when you're calling this a drop-off place, this is for items that can be taken out from Washington County Dave's program, the program there?
Yeah, let me explain. Yeah, the program is basically to encourage folks to write notes to people who may be experiencing some social isolation. And then there's a community group that either mails them or delivers them. And so it's possible that perhaps if people wanted to participate, they could just drop their notes off at the library and then I could pass them on so that they could get delivered, you know.
So we get a list of names of people and write them a note. Is that how that works?
No, it's not a list of names of people. There are already people on the other end who have indicated that they want to receive notes, but it's like cards of positive affirmation or, you know, writing to us a pen pal that you don't know yet, but you want to connect with them or let them know that you're thinking of them, even if you don't know them yet, you know.
Cool. How about another resource is technology support?
Ooh.
Okay, we've got some really, really good ideas here. Now, I think what we need to do is to parse out what are the things that we, the BCOA, can take care of, and what are the ones that we need to get information from somebody else to, if we choose to use, oh, I don't know, the LC Stir schedule. How do we get that onto the table? So does that sound like the next step to take so we can hone down everything? So when we meet on Saturday for a retreat, we can finalize, do the last little bits of planning.
Yeah, and do you mind if I say, Martha, the other aspect of this is not just what we can do in the physical space, but what we can do in the virtual space throughout the month of May.
Good point.
And so some ideas that I thought of for that is, are there community organizations that we want to highlight? Like the Oregon peer support line. Just again, the idea of educating and making aware of the supports that exist right in the community. So I want to think about that idea too, or putting, you know, we could put I can make a virtual book list and post that on social media. So we have all of the library's social media accounts to utilize as well. So just to add that into our brainstorming, or as we think about these things, anything that we create in the physical space, can we also do it in the virtual space?
Thank you, Beth. I just don't think about it, and it's important that we do. I appreciate that. So we have the physical space and we have the virtual space, and some things we can duplicate. But is there anything specifically that can only go in the virtual space per se?
I don't know.
I don't either. Come on, tech people. I know you're.
Are you thinking of like putting maybe links to resources, even if we had resources that we have physically there? It would always be nice maybe to have links to people that either don't want to get hard copies or that would like to have something virtually. So I think that, yeah, links to the various resources.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Susan. You know, Beth and I were talking the other day about how, I mean, the team last year put together this huge book of resources, and, you know, resources meld and change over time. And we were thinking of finding what is the key contact person to use? Like, I got a request for transportation from a Viva Village volunteer. And I directed her back to Viva Village, as well as to the Dave's program, as well as to TriMet, for her to find what would be the best way for her to get transportation from her house to a surgery appointment and then back again. And but what are those the big, you know, like a core, the HUD of the wheel, that they can direct you to where you need to go. What the core, the aging and
Well,
disability.
there could be headings too, like transportation
Yeah.
resources. I mean, it could be broken out by, so that it was very clear, you know, for transportation here, there's this for other types of assistance like PDX concierge, you know, they do such beautiful, wonderful things for the community and the older American. So something, you know, those types of things, or for maybe a social, I'm going to say social services, but by that I mean contacts. I don't mean necessarily, although social security or social services are important. One of the things that I'm thinking is maybe a contact. There's I think Sophie mentioned the cards and things like that. You know, how would I get connected to that if I'm an older American that would like that service?
Yeah, and then Mark just put into chat the ride connection.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I would love to see emphasized is that there's a lot of assistance programs for older people, but I'd like to see something emphasized on Older Americans Month about how seniors contribute to our community, how active they are, how they participate, how they listen to children read in schools, you know, how they volunteer, how they still continue to give rights to others. I mean, in a million different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see that emphasized as well.
Well, even to go along with that would be some sort of link or connection to Meals on Wheels, because I know a lot of seniors deliver those to other seniors or people. So,
or also other volunteer opportunities and ideas for older.
Oh, good. Mm-hmm.
Because I first of all, I love that idea, Linda, because I think you're right. We're always like, even in this meeting, we're thinking of it from like a deficit standpoint. How can we help? Instead of really thinking, how can we access older adults and the resources and richness that they give to our communities? And I think that's a really good shout out.
Mm-hmm. And I think that each of us with our connections, even, and I know Beth probably could do this too, is the organizations we belong to, how many of the volunteers are older. And I think we'd be amazed at how many people I don't think we could get everything, but in the community, in the churches, in the synagogues, in the swimming pools, in the libraries, in the schools, the school district, things like that. How many of those people are, I know a lot of people that tutor or that go, work, deliver Meals on Wheels and things like that, do things within their churches, or their synagogues or their mosques. And so I think there's just so many areas, and maybe just some ways to find out, how someone could volunteer if they wanted to. And there are opportunities to volunteer from home. If you don't get around real well, you can also do some volunteering from home. I put together craft kits for the library, for the kids. Little tiny, they're little things, but they're things that people might not even think about.
Ah, yeah. So craft kits could go for seniors or older adults as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, Mark has something else here. The city also offers many volunteer opportunities. That's true.
Including at the library.
Including at the library.
Library, Meals on Wheels, and we had Avid was one of the opportunities for the kids that, older adults could be tutors. And in the links section, I was thinking if we could have a list of other organizations that serve seniors. Like, I know we have Association of Seniors for Indian Origin, but I'm sure there are other organizations like maybe for Chinese or Korean or, in the community that we can provide links to that people can go and, see what, because most of the stuff that we do are open to public, like yoga classes are open to public, it's free. People can just come and join it. Then we have informational webinars and stuff for seniors. So we can give links to that.
So Susan just said, create the good. Is that the name of a group, Susan?
That is a subsection of AARP, and that's what they exist for. You can just type in "create the good" at AARP, and that's how I found my volunteer job at the library here in Beaverton. To tell you the truth, was through that. Also, another thing that AARP provides is called the Wish of a Lifetime. You've all heard of the Walk for Wishes or the Wish Kids for the Kids Foundations or wishes, granting wishes. There is a program that's it's done by OATS, and I wish I could tell you what that stands for. It's Older Americans something or other, and they grant wishes to older Americans that just like and it's like a Make-A-Wish, only it's not necessarily based on need. It's based on you can nominate people for it, the people can nominate themselves, and so
That's awesome.
that's a brand new program, just started this year, and it's called Wish of a Lifetime.
Awesome.
Wish of a Lifetime.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And then one other thing I think we were talking about last month as well, like it kind of goes off everything we've been talking about the how seniors contribute to the community. But I know we were talking about the whole honoring older adults, and I think if we could have maybe some sort of write-up or something that honors a few seniors in the community, and we were talking about how we were going to get nominations for that or something, I think that would be really interesting as well.
Yeah, Neil, I like that idea. And, we could actually, once we get this up and going, we could actually highlight maybe an older adult throughout the year on our website. Getting into using our social media, which I don't do. So I'm expanding my idea plan.
There may even be employment opportunities for older adults as well. I mean, as we think about it, I think older adults are one of the groups of people that are becoming more impoverished as we go on, as taxes go up, as costs go up, as inflations go up, as the cost of gas goes up, all of that, all those retirement monies that we thought we were going to have are not stretching quite as far as they used to. And so I noticed that, there's certainly people that are going back to work. And some people just like to work. I like to work, so I go back to work. But we might even look at employment opportunities.
Yeah.
Online, I think possibility of some of the games, the word games. Right now, Wordle is very popular. Yeah. And we could suggest that for people who want to have a brief pastime, since it's Wordle only requires one word.
And there's also Nerdle, which is for math, similar to Wordle, but it's Nerdn. Nerdle. It's called Nerdle.
So Alexis, can you say more about the documentary called Fast Forward?
Yeah, sorry if it gets a little loud back here.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a documentary called Fast Forward. It was like a study put on, it was kind of a study, kind of a just a documentary experience put on by, I think it was MIT. It was one of the bigger universities. And basically they got millennials and their parents together, they put the millennials into this like special effects, like age makeup, where the parents could like see what their kids will look like when they're older, you know, which they normally wouldn't get a chance to see. And it inspires it starts out as a very goofy thing, like, oh, we're going to see what you look like when you're, you know, 85. But it really quickly turns very beautiful, where you have these incredible conversations between parents and their kids about what aging is to them and what they hope for their kids when they get older and what they hope the world looks like when their kids get older. And it started as a fun thing that really quickly turned into just this beautiful conversation between parents and their grown adult children. It's very moving. There are parts of it that are just very funny, and it's just kind of an interesting introspection on kind of aging.
Oh, I love it. And aging for all ages, so important. And housing opportunities, Susan. Wow, now here's a challenge. Not only for low income, you've been trying to find a place to live for over 4 months, and you make too much money but can't afford the higher rental rates. What is going on here? So many important issues that are impacting all of us. Wow, this is awesome. Okay, so now we have all these ideas, guys. What do we do now? What's our next step? One more step so that the group of us who are getting together on Saturday can do some formalizing. Because we can't do all of this at one time. I don't think the table, well, maybe we can. I want to be practical and reasonable, but at the same time, be rich with what we're displaying, both at the table and online.
Isn't it a matter of sort of organizing, you know, what are the resources that we can provide? And maybe that goes under social media so that there are websites and that sort of thing. And in the library, Beth, they have computers that are set up for those particular directories that would direct them towards Older Americans Month. So all of these things could be set up for them already, so they could just go right to those websites.
Yeah.
Oh.
That might just be one area to do that. And then setting up different kinds of readings in the library that are the books that we've mentioned and perhaps more that we can find.
Well, in the 2 weeks time that the display will be up, if Beth is planning to do like they have with the other themes on the table, there'll be kind of a rotation of books, right? In that subject area or whatever. So we'll have a chance to, I was kind of caught flat-footed. I didn't know that we were going to be doing this today. I thought it was going to be on Saturday. So I will have more specifics as far as titles of books and so forth by Saturday.
No worries.
Yeah, and I will say, just to clarify that, you know, this is May. So,
right.
And you can utilize my and Martha's email to send ideas that we could kind of collect. But what I mean is by that is be very specific. So give me specific titles.
Right.
Specific, you know, documentary names, specific organizations that we could collect, you know. Don't send it to everybody because now we're in a quorum. So you gotta just send it to or blind BCC everyone if you're gonna do stuff through email. But otherwise it's considered, you know, we're doing work and there are rules to that. So BCC or just send it to Martha and myself. We can kind of do a collection and review it. We still have the April meeting. to do a final review. So
Yeah.
and then the physical space is 2 weeks, but the month itself is all month. And so we can utilize, the social media all month. And then of course, a web page that could be there forever, or however long it makes sense for it to be there.
Yeah, I always forget that about media. It's online. It's what you want to make it and keep it or change it or do away with it.
Yeah, and I like what I think somebody has said the idea, well, why don't, if we're featuring individuals, we could do it throughout the year. Anything that doesn't maybe make the cut for May, we can still have, maybe we want to share, we can share throughout the year. I think that's something that the BCOA has this year that they haven't had in the past, is our library social media accounts. So.
Well, and when I look at all this, is it's kind of overwhelming for information input. And I mean, what do you do with all of this? So how do we organize it in such a way that it's accessible to people, so that they know where to go to answer their questions? How do we synthesize it, I guess, is the question I'm posing. And I'm not saying we have to do that now. It's just looking at the array of options we have here.
I think that Older Americans Month sort of leads into all kinds of things. Like this month is the month of the woman. I mean, you could get into women's health in a whole lot of things, women outliving men and the reasons why. I mean, you could continue to carry this thing all the way through American Heart Month, and those kinds of things, and use a lot of these things all the way throughout the year. So you're right, Beth.
I like that, Linda. That makes great sense. So we're always posting something, and it may be a month that I don't really need anything here, but I know somebody who does. So it's, and then maybe the next month is, oh yeah, I could really use this. So it becomes very adaptable for people. What is Libby Con, Beth? Oh, Canopy.
Canopy.
Yes, okay. Well, any other good ideas? Wow, this is amazing. See what a group can do, a village. It's awesome. Now, Beth, can you save all this and put it in a document kind of thing? Or I have no idea.
Yes.
Good.
So these will be included in the follow-up email that I send after our meeting.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sorry, they're messy, but.
No, it doesn't matter. We just.
Oh, it's down. That's great.
Yeah.
Do we want them in the minutes?
No, just what you can do is you can refer to this in the minutes, and then I will provide the actual documents separate to the minutes, and we're still good.
Yeah, but it'd be really nice to have this for Saturday.
Yeah, we will.
Good, good. Well, I want to thank everybody with your ideas and creative thinking and looking forward in terms of not only offering services, but how can we acknowledge our older citizens who are already viable and offering volunteer and working in our community already. So I'm really glad we covered all bases in terms of looking at our older citizens. The radically reframing aging program that was last week, they sent out a survey to find out, how do you call people who are over 60, elders, gray panthers, and they could not come up with one. No one wanted one word. So because we say our younger people, we were just older people. And it's very descriptive and it's like younger people. So just letting you know that there's not one phrase or word that us older Americans want to be called, or older people. So that was kind of interesting to hear from that. So any other finalizing for getting ready for our retreat on Saturday morning? Good. I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, Mr. Soucie, we're ready for you to share about update on the city council. I know a lot's going on.
Oh, well, yes and no. I mean, it depends on where you're looking.
Okay.
Obviously, we've a lot of things have been focused on getting the PRCA up and operating. So, for instance, tonight we do not have a city council meeting. Instead, people are encouraged to attend the first public concert, which I talked about earlier. In addition, the city manager working with the city council has developed a revised general schedule for the city council, which going forward, subject to exceptions and modifications on the fly, will typically meet first and third Tuesday of each month. And the Urban Redevelopment Agency, which includes the city council as well as a few additional people, will meet on the fourth Tuesday of each month. That will leave one and occasionally two Tuesdays open, which could get used in a pinch, but generally the effort will be to focus most of the council business on the first and third Tuesday. One of the benefits of splitting this apart is that we have been for the last couple of years back-to-backing the bureau meetings and the city council meetings. And the Urban Redevelopment Agency has got much more busy because the finances of the entity are kind of reaching their peak maturity, which means there's more money to spend to buy land, to invest in programs for downtown revitalization and revitalization around the downtown area. And so bureau meetings were getting to the point where they couldn't fit into 1 hour anymore. So this will give a little bit more leg room for those meetings and take some of the time pressure off the council meetings. I do think that there will be some occasional extra council meetings thrown in just because that's the nature of the business. Sometimes there's things that just have to get done. So we'll see how it shakes out over time. But obviously we are all, I think at this point, pretty accustomed to the new model of working with the council and the city manager and the city manager managing the departments. I feel pretty comfortable with it. Hopefully everybody is starting to get an idea of who's the best person to call when they have a concern about something. You can call your elected people at any time, but there's an awful lot of matters that the city manager is responsible for directly. And so I think that's one of the broader public learnings, is to understand what's the best first contact so you can get the most immediate response to some issue that you want to bring up. Let's see. I will. The other thing that has changed, and it started last week, last Tuesday, is we are now meeting in person again as a city council.
Oh, wow.
I think soon. I don't know if it will be April or if it'll be May or if it'll be June. But at some point, the public will be welcome to come back in and sit in the council chambers during council meetings. Right now, testimony and visitor comment are being handled via Zoom, via remote access. There is a room at City Hall that is made available for people to come in and sit and do that. But I think the time is coming when people are going to be welcomed back into the main chamber while the council is meeting in order to be able to interact directly, humans to humans. Something that we haven't done for about 2 years now. So I'm very much looking forward to welcoming the everybody back in. And then kind of last but not least, we do get a little bit of a look ahead on the council as to some of the topics that are coming up on future agendas. And I would say March 15th is going to be a lot of land use business. We're going to have an update on what's going on with the land use planning for the Cooper Mountain area, which was an urban growth boundary expansion area from 2010, and another one from 2014, I believe. We have some work sessions to discuss possible site development planning and building fees. We're going to be discussing the draft development code changes to support the state law that requires us to allow for what we call middle housing in almost every part of the city, which means duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, in addition to single detached homes. And we're also going to talk about a possible geographical expansion of what's called the vertical housing development zone, which is an area where somebody who proposes multi-story residential development can get some tax breaks in order that we can foster that and gain a greater concentration of residential development in certain areas of the city, which are really focused on generally in and around downtown. But it's meant to provide more housing opportunities. All of these things are meant to provide more housing opportunities for people in the Beaverton area, which is one of many, many, many things that can have some impact, not necessarily enough impact, but some impact on the cost of housing for people.
Mm-hmm.
So we are doing everything we can to support high quality but prolific development of housing for all income levels across the city. So that's kind of the general overview, but I'll be happy to answer any questions if somebody's bumped into something that they have a question or concern about. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, Beth, you're up for updating you're our staff liaison updater.
Ramona has a question.
Ramona has a question.
I don't know whether this is for you, Mark, or whether it would be for Beth on the city updates, but I was somewhat surprised when I saw that the city had openings on some of their boards and commissions mid-year this year, and wondered what was the cause of that.
Typically, the cause of that is somebody has to resign from a committee because they get too busy in their life, or they move to a different place, or they get job responsibilities that just don't let them mix their time. But I know just one example specifically, when we went through the last round of appointments to the various committees, we did not have enough candidates for the budget committee. And so there is a current opening on the budget committee, and that's one of the ones that's out there. I think there's an opening on, perhaps it's an alternate position on the planning commission. We had somebody resign from the planning commission, and there are a couple of others out there. So generally what it is either we know in December, or we have a suspicion based on what somebody has told us that somebody's going to be leaving one of the committees and leaving an opening. And so, you know, we try to encourage people to apply for boards and commissions year round, and then the formal process of trying to populate all of the committees with interviewing the candidates and all the necessary process that's involved there, that's concentrated usually into September and October for the November appointments.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yes.
Okay, go Beth. Thank you.
All right. Mark already mentioned the Patricia Resource Center for the Arts, but I have a nice little write-up about it. It's nestled near the round between Southwest Cedar Hills Boulevard and Southwest Hall Boulevard. The reserve features a 550-seat theater, art gallery, meeting space, outdoor plaza, and adjacent parking structure. The website is www.thereser.org. And just reiterating that performance on Sunday, March 13th. The city is now offering expanded in-person services across all city facilities while continuing virtual services for community members. While many services were already being offered in person, other services have been added and may look different than previously offered, such as by appointment instead of walk-in. Virtual services that have proven effective are likely to continue as long as they meet the city's service models and public needs. The changes are happening as the latest wave of the pandemic subsidies with intentional efforts. As the latest wave of the pandemic subsides, with intentional efforts to improve the ways residents and community members access city program and resources. You can learn more about the city services, hours, and news at beavertonoregon.gov. So I don't have a list of the new things being added. I imagine they're going to update that website. Well, they will update the website as things get added on. And then lastly, the state of the city is March 29th. So tune in Tuesday, March 29th at 12 p.m. for Beaverton Voices, State of the City 2022 with the mayor. The event will premiere on the city's web and social media. Major topics include Beaverton's ongoing response to COVID-19, economic recovery, downtown development, ARPA funding, and addressing homelessness. You won't want to miss this. And then library announcements that I can just add is, as of starting March 12th, indoor masking will not be required inside the library, although you may continue to use a mask if you want.
And does that mean that library staff and volunteers will be masked, or that'll also be voluntary?
It's voluntary, individual choice. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, lots of changes. Wow, what a great meeting. I'm so grateful for everybody who participated with your thoughts, your ideas, and just your presence. So thank you so much. So do I hear a motion to close our meeting?
I so move.
You so move.
Second.
Wonderful. Our meeting at 4:23 is closed. And thank you.